Democrats are also fighting mad over Elon Musk. And so they are using this latest incident with Paul Pelosi as evidence that Elon Musk is an irresponsible and terrible person. So Elon Musk tweeted out a story suggesting strange details with regard to the Paul Pelosi attack. The Washington Post says Elon Musk and a wide range of right-wing personalities cobbled together misreporting, innuendo, and outright falsehoods to amplify misinformation about last week's violent assault on Paul Pelosi to their millions of online followers. A forum devoted to former White House advisor Stephen K. Bannon's right-wing radio show alerted its 78,000 subscribers to, quote, very strange new details on Paul Pelosi attack. Roger Stone, longtime political consigliere to former President Donald Trump, took to the fast-growing messaging app Telegram to call the assault an alleged attack, telling his followers a stench surrounding mainstream reporting about the Friday break-in that left Pelosi hospitalized with a skull fracture and other serious injuries existed. The skepticism didn't stay in the right-wing echo chamber. He wrote on Sunday morning, quote, there is a tiny possibility there might be more to this story than meets the eye. He pointed his 112 million followers to a sensationalist account of the episode published by a site known for spreading right-wing misinformation before deleting the tweet several hours later. The rush to sow doubt about the assault on Pelosi's husband illustrates how aggressively influential figures on the right are seeking to dissuade the public from believing facts about the violence, seizing on the event to promote conspiracy theories and provoke distrust. Okay, so it is worth noting here that people should not be promoting stories that do not have proper backing to them. Obviously. That's why I opened the show by discussing all of the questions that people seem to have about the Paul Pelosi attack and talking about what the police has said. And it seems to me that the police account is significantly more evidenced at this point than many of the theories about the attack on Paul Pelosi. We talked about the fact that people were worrying about the glass breaking outward. When you throw a hammer against plexiglass, it will tend to break outward, not inward in many cases. There are people who were suggesting there's a third person. How did a third person get there? Why were they admitting somebody? Where was this person trying to stop it? There was no third person. It was misreporting by CBS News. There was the 911 phone call and the dispatch operator telling the police what was happening and said that Paul Pelosi had said there's a guy here named David and he's a friend. And so people were interpreting that as, oh, he's a friend. Okay. Or it's possible and theoretically, believable that Paul Pelosi had a crazy person in front of him and was trying to calm the guy down while simultaneously on the phone with 911, not letting the crazy guy know that he was on the phone with 911. Okay, fine. All of that to the good. The reason, but this is being used now as an excuse for Elon Musk is obviously very bad because he tweeted out unverified information about the Paul Pelosi attack. So a couple things ought to be said about all of this. One, the truth became fairly quickly evident and Musk deleted his tweet, which suggests that the solution was not to ban the tweet in the first place. The solution was to allow people to critique the tweet because then Musk removed the tweet. So people on the left are using this as an example of we must ban information. We must make sure that there is no counter narrative that gets out there. But the thing is this, once the information that was bad was put out there, it was hit so hard that Musk took it down, which is theoretically the way that free speech is supposed to work. You say something dumb, everybody critiques you, and then you retract the dumb thing that you said. What the left would like to do is essentially pre-clear all speech. So you shouldn't ask the questions in the first place. Now, when you do that, you know what you end up with? You end up with people asking more questions. When you say, you're not allowed to post this story, because if you post this story, we'll shut down your account. What people tend to do is they tend to believe, well, then I'm not going to believe you because you're attempting to censor. You're attempting to prevent information from being disseminated. The best answer to bad and dumb speech is, in fact, when it comes to fora like Twitter, more speech. But this is not the left's take. The left's take is that they should be essentially policing what you can and cannot say. And here is the problem. All the people who maybe correctly were saying that Elon Musk was putting out a bad story yesterday, all of those same people were perfectly fine with the media for years putting out bad information about COVID, putting out false information about a wide variety of topics. Totally fine with all that stuff. All of that propagandistic nonsense, that could go out there. But Elon Musk puts out a tweet about a link that he shouldn't have put out. And this is evidence that free speech is no longer operative. So, for example, you have an MSNBC guest named Suzanne Nossel who's raising alarm about free speech on Twitter because if we allow people to say things, then you never know. Free speech might be quashed by people saying things.
It's a social media platform that, as Elon says, is trying to create an environment for public discourse, a place where people of different ideological persuasions can come together and can reason. In order to do that, you need to create some parameters. We've learned that. Speech in Twitter is not the same as a town square. It's algorithmically driven. We've seen that falsehoods travel faster than the truth on Twitter, that polarization can be stoked that it's a weaponization of human nature. And that can be for good or for ill. We can celebrate something and we can go down a very dark path if that's where our nature draws us to. The algorithms fuel and supercharge that. And so I don't think the answer is a First Amendment approach, trying to adopt the constraints on government to a private platform like Twitter.
It's weaponizing human nature to allow people to say the things that they want to say. It is not weaponizing human nature to give outsized power to a coterie of left-wing elites who will tell you what you can say. That, of course, we can trust them. We can trust them because they definitely will not quash information that is not to their political liking. They'll probably just promote true narratives, like the narrative they've been promoting nonstop for days now, that every Republican is responsible for a nut job hitting Paul Pelosi with a hammer. That's the stuff that we need to disseminate, obviously. Because otherwise, if we don't prevent the dissemination of bad information, how are we going to get our narrative out there? This is the shtick with regard to Elon Musk and the left. It's why they're angry about Elon Musk opening up the spigots on speech, because they don't like a lot of the information that's being distributed. And again, what they're going to do now is they're going to nitpick. They're going to find the worst examples of people distributing information that's not true on one side of the aisle, and then they're going to pretend that everything they see is sweetness and light, and all of the information they disseminate is absolutely true. By the way, they're also going to promote the narrative that they can call Elon Musk a unique threat to democracy. Elon Musk is an evil, retrograde robber baron. They can say whatever they want about him, and that's totally fine. But if you say Nancy Pelosi should not be Speaker of the House, somebody might go hit her husband with a hammer in his house. That's the way this works. You can say whatever you want about people on the right. You can suggest, as the president has, that those people are going to overthrow the country. And that's totally good. In fact, it's praiseworthy that the president of the United States says that stuff. But if you say that Nancy Pelosi is doing a bad job as Speaker, man, you never know what that might set off. And we need to curb speech to prevent messages that we don't like from getting out. Well, there's sort of a fascinating exchange on Twitter between CEO Elon Musk and the Los Angeles Lakers' LeBron James about racial slurs on the platform. So LeBron, who has in the past spread anti-Semitic nonsense of his own before retracting it, he was responding to a report in the Washington Post that claimed there had been a 500% increase in the use of the N-word on Twitter following Musk taking over. Several of the posts on 4chan encourage users to amplify derogatory slurs, the report said, suggesting the increase in the use of slurs may not have been completely organic, which the Post did not mention. That's what the study said. The Post did not say that. The Post instead suggested that there were just a ton of people who had suddenly randomly started saying the N-word. James tweeted, "I don't know Elon Musk, and to be honest, I could care less about who owns Twitter, but I will say if this is true, I hope he and his people take this very, very seriously because this is scary AF. So many damn unfit people saying hate speech is free speech." Well, I mean, technically speaking, hate speech is indeed a form of free speech because, again, things I don't like don't necessarily fall into the category of hate. And even if we all agree that they are hateful, that does not mean that they are prosecutable or that they don't fall under the category of free speech, right? There are certain areas that don't fall under the defamation does not fall under free speech. Pornography does not fall under free speech. The problem with hate speech is it's a vaguely defined term that can be twisted and turned and used any way by whoever cites the thing. By the way, if we were banning people for hate speech, then back when LeBron James was talking about the Jewish money, he would have been banned from social media. Musk responded to James's tweet with a statement from Yoel Roth, Twitter's head of safety and integrity, that said, "Nearly all of these accounts are inauthentic. We've taken action to ban the users involved in this trolling campaign. We're going to continue working to address this in the days to come to make Twitter safe and welcoming for everyone." But again, the media are going to amplify all of this because they are so all fired afraid that there might be a platform that they don't control the spigot of information to. They are terrified of all of that. It scares the living hell out of them. All right, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. We'll be getting into Elon Musk and his continuing Twitter takeover, the media attacks on Twitter, plus Democrats trying to shift their angle of attack on the midterms away from democracy and away from January 6th and more toward the economy. We'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're not a member, click the link in the description and join us.